Good morning. It is 7 a.m. on Friday. I have a few jobs scheduled. First job is the R22 condenser is not coming on. I'm pretty sure that it's just the condenser fan motor that's not coming on. I spoke briefly with Mike about it, but we'll see what happens there. I'm hoping that this video I'll get a chance to show and put to use this thermal imaging camera. It's by Topdon. It's called the TC View. They sent it to me in hopes that I would make a video about it, so we'll see if I like it and how well it works. But hopefully you enjoy watching. And it was just raining out, but it looks like the rain's gonna stop. Hopefully it doesn't start again. It's not supposed to start later in the day at all, but there's a 50% chance that it keeps going. But I'm moving away from it, so hopefully we stay dry. And it just started to rain pretty hard, so that's great. I'm literally just pulling up to the job now at this turn, so I'm gonna have to wait it out. Can't work on the condenser with pouring rain like this. Oh, this stinks. Hopefully it stops. It says it's supposed to continue for the next hour, so I'm really hoping that it slows down. Okay, so here's the condensing unit. I already pulled out the disconnect. It is still drizzling, but the motor spins freely. I just spun it with the impact tip, but I'll try to separate this cover off. See what we have. No visible burnt wires, visible spider, but nothing looks out of the ordinary. First thing I'll do is I'll test that run capacitor. So I just looked at the bottom and it's a 45.5, if you could see that right up top. It's a little bit tough to get a picture of, but it's a 45.5. And I did just get these Nip-X needle nose, which I do like how slim they are. But I will pull off our fan and our Herm leads. And I should be able to go from our Herm side to our common. And get nothing. Let me pull the capacitor out because I think it is going to be bad, but we'll see. Okay, so our black is our common. So let's go from Herm to common, 42.6, and from fan to common, steadily getting 1.42. So I'm going to swap this out and hopefully that's all. So here's what we got. Titan HD 45.5. I'll pop this in and we'll plug in the disconnect and see if we start spinning. And I'll check amperages and everything like that. Okay, so she is turning the thermostat on. So unfortunately this unit has no information on the outside as far as like the fan motor, but I took a look in there and it's rated for 1.5 amps, so we'll take an amp reading. And 1.28 on that leg, 0.98 on that leg, 0.72 on that leg. So our amp draw is good, but I'm gonna clean this up out of here and try to get this side cleaned. He should really do a maintenance on this unit. Definitely in need of a good maintenance. So I cleaned this out as much as I could. Unfortunately, I don't have all the time in the world here. They are on a time limit. They do have to leave, so everything's running okay. It's cooling nicely by 16 degrees inside, so let it keep running for them. I'll button it up and we'll move on to the next. And can't forget the pipe factor sticker. Okay, so heading to the next job, which is a condenser swap out on a Fujitsu Ductless unit. The outdoor condenser needs some major repairs, and it's more cost effective for him to just replace the unit in its entirety, so we're doing that. It should be a direct swap, and it should go smoothly. I'll reflare the connections just to make sure we don't have any leaks, but that's something to my eye. Hopefully that goes nice and smooth. Peter's meeting me there with the condenser. Okay, so here's the unit. I'm gonna pull power, get an extension cord run, and start with recovery. I'll get the, I'll bring that extension cord. Oh, you got one right there, awesome.
I usually have one ready to go on the outside because I do the lawn, you know?
Yeah, okay. So we'll get...
Good enough for you?
Yeah, that's perfect. I heard a honk. I don't know if that means Peter's here. No, he's not here, so I'll have to wait. Okay, so got all my hoses purged out. Had to get a little bit creative to hook up to all three. So I used an API there, ran a hose from this to this, and then I have this one going to the manifold and the bottom one going to the manifold. And we're going into recovery tank. Gonna press start. And it'd probably be a good idea to open the recovery tank. And then press start. And I'll put the tank in front of the machine so it's blowing air on it to cool it. But it shouldn't take too long. There shouldn't be that much in the lines. I isolated the condenser. And we'll label all these and get everything set up. And to identify these, I just cut them at different lengths. A is the longest, B is the middle, and C is the shortest. And we can label these accordingly as well. Okay, so we finished recovery and pulled into a vacuum. I'm gonna start it again just to pull it into even more of a vacuum to really pull all that refrigerant out. And then we'll self-purge the machine. We'll get all of our lines disconnected. It's a real pain that we have water everywhere. Our vacuum process is not gonna be fun, but it is what it is. Still recovering. We took all the bolts off. I labeled them with labels, A, B, C. Here's the new one. Pretty much identical except for the front mesh. On this one is plastic, on that one it was metal. So I was pumping down, we finished pumping down, but I realized I had this line closed, so we forgot to pump down a circuit. So I continued pumping down that circuit, but I had that valve open, so we were pumping down the whole condenser, which is why this has been taking so long. I feel like an idiot, but I closed that, and now we're pumping down quickly again, and hopefully we can get the recovery machine out of here and get this unit out and the new one into place. But that was annoying. Okay, so the flares are all done, the old one's out, and we'll put the new one into place. And no, they didn't solder it. They welded it. Some weird bracket, but whatever. So I'm going to be cutting off all these flares and using the new flare nuts. We'll make our flares with the HVAC cordless flaring tool, and we'll show you that. And then I will be using nylog as well on the mating surface for lubrication. So I have the block on the 1/2-inch line, and I'll slide the machine on, latch it, and press it, and it does the flare completely. It'll back itself out, and then I can unlatch it and hook it up, but it's always a perfect flare. And what I'm going to be doing for each of these is after I connect the bottom line, you can see right there, perfect flare. There's some oil in the line, so I guess that only helps make a nice smooth flare. But you should be able to slide this right over. The pipe has a bend to it, so it's a little bit of a pain, but yeah, it slides right over nice and smooth. But I am going to use just a very little amount of an eye-log on the threads as a lubricant, and as well as on the flares surfaces. Just that right there for the lubricant. I'll put a little tiny bit. I'm not even squeezing the bottle, just a tiny little layer. And then I'll do that on the rear side of the flare as well. I'll smooth that out with my finger, just so that the nut can move freely and doesn't catch the copper and spin it. But this should go on and tighten almost completely hand tight without having to use a wrench. The wrench should only be to snug it up. And we'll be using the Yellow Jacket torque wrench to torque it to specification. But before I connect this one fully, I'm gonna blow nitrogen through that whole circuit. Okay, so I have nitrogen blowing through, and you can see any refrigerant that's gonna make it harder to vacuum. Okay, so they're all in there snug. They've all been blown out. Now we have the Yellow Jacket torque wrench set for 11.1 foot-pounds plus 1, so that makes 12.1. It's between 11 and 13. So I'm gonna tighten each of them until we get that click. That's torqued. Go to the next one. That's torqued. And the next one. And that's torqued. Now, we'll do the rest off camera, but because those are different torque specs and different sizes. So I got the vacuum hooked up to 2 of the circuits. I can't do this one because I don't have a hose to do that one, and I don't have a micron gauge. But here's the Elitech micron gauge. Here's the Blue Vac Pro. Blue Vac's on a larger line, but we'll let this run for a while. And once we're below 1500 on both, I will isolate close off the gas ballast to protect the oil. And looks like that's going to be in a few seconds. Yep, so we'll see how low we pull on both and if they pass decay, and then we'll move on to the last. Okay, so we're still going on these. The top one and the middle one. This bottom one pulled way down to 120 and passed decay. So I opened up the refrigerant Allen port right here. Just cracked it to let the charge in, and I'll open it all the way, and I'll open up the next one too, while these ones pull down. And Peter's doing the communications wiring. It's interesting to see the difference between what the micron gauges are reading. It could just be that they're different levels, each of the lines, but it seems to consistently be about 25 more microns on the Elitech than on the Blue Vac Plus. I would lean towards this being more accurate, but this also was much less use. I've only used this maybe a dozen times. So I'm using this thermal imaging camera now. We have the system running to make sure the proper circuit is getting refrigerant. So he just turned on circuit A. Circuit A is the one that's cooling. Before, what was happening is it was sending refrigerant to other places. and it's gonna shut down now. They'll switch to a different circuit and we'll make sure that the right one gets cooling and repeat for all of it. But so far, problem's already fixed. And we got the old unit in the truck, along with yesterday's garbage, because I still had all the garbage in my van, but I'm going to jobs after this, so Peter could dump the garbage. Okay, so finished up there. Everything's working properly, cooling well. He's very happy. And now I'm heading to my next. I think on the way I'm going to pick up my paycheck and drop off some checks that I have for Mike. And hopefully it goes smoothly. I forget what this one was for. I think it's for AC, not cooling. Oh no, this is the pool heater. So I'll see if I get much to record on that. Usually when it's a pool heater that I'm not familiar with, I'm just on the phone with technical support. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so here is our heater. Haven't seen one of these before, but I will get the side panels off. So I got it opened up and I pulled power, which is just an outlet, but the hot surface igniter, I want to test that just because that's easy. But it's in there, so it's not too easy to get to. I'm gonna see if I could get that. Actually, I could test the pin, the Molex itself for resistance, so I'll do that. Okay, so our hot surface igniter tested out good. I'm cycling it on a power cycle right now to see if I smell gas, because the blower is running and it's flashing for heating, but our I don't smell any gas coming out, so our gas valve may not be opening. Yeah, I went into service heater because it didn't light off. Let's see if that valve's getting powered. Okay, and there's going to be our issue. Broken wire on this AGS sensor. So I have to see, I have a sensor here. It's not for that purpose, but it may be the same sensor, so I'm going to see what the resistance readings on the two are and if it'll work. Okay, so since it's an open and closed switch, I just swapped it out, and we're going to power up our heater now and see what happens. And we'll, of course, let the homeowner know that this isn't the exact part for it, but it should work out fine. But he'll have to monitor the temperatures to make sure that we don't get close to that 135 limit. So pool heater will set to 90 and we'll see what happens. It should kick off within just a few seconds. What that switch does is it cuts off power to the gas valve, so that's why there was no gas, and that's also why this wasn't giving any errors. So let's see. Service heater, AGS. No. It says heating. Our AGS is plugged in. It didn't work. Okay, so it turned out I just had a little loose Molex up there, so this sensor will work fine. It'll trip 5 degrees earlier, technically, than the existing one, but by then another sensor should trip anyway, so it shouldn't be an issue at all. But I told him to monitor the temperatures. I spoke with Mike about it, but we got him up and running, and that's what he cares about. So I'm gonna start wrapping everything up and head on to the next. And this also gives me the perfect opportunity to check the temperatures with the thermal imaging camera. So this may not be the most accurate. I'll be testing the jets with my meter, but we can see that we're nowhere near 100 degrees, so we shouldn't be climbing all the way up to 130. So should be okay. Okay, so I'm on to the next one, which is This was a customer that I was at. She was using 2 different return filter sizes for her 1 return filter. She asked me to give her the size for the actual return, so I measured it. It was 30 by 30. Told her to get that filter, but now it's being sucked in, so she wants me to do something to prevent that. I'm probably just going to take a piece of band iron across it, maybe across on both directions, to prevent it from being sucked in. But yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to really record that much there, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so I didn't record, but if you take a look here, this is what I did. I just put 2 band iron really tightly across, and I also screwed the band iron together so it doesn't rattle. It holds the filter in place. It's not making any noises, so on to the next.
Turn right onto West Alder
This
Road.
unit that I am heading to is a condenser that I worked on a couple weeks ago. The condenser fan motor was shot, so we got a new condenser fan motor and a new capacitor. They had to leave, so I was only there for that hour, but I did my best to clean up the inside of the unit, and it was running and it was cooling. It was charging hot. I told him that he should really schedule a maintenance. Of course he didn't schedule a maintenance, but it says AC not working again. I don't know what's going on exactly. Doesn't show what's going on, but we'll see when I get there. I'm hoping that the condenser fan motor didn't die, because that'd be incredibly odd. It amped out okay, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Okay, so we are frozen as a rock, but what I did was I turned the thermostat off of cooling. Oh, cooling is still on, so maybe I didn't turn the thermostat off of cooling, but I'm gonna get a ladder and take a look up at the air handler. Okay, take a look. So I pulled the cover off because with the disconnect being plugged in, unit still kept coming on, and our contactor was like welded closed. So I'm hesitant to just replace that and tell him that's the issue, because I don't know, with it being frozen. I can't run it to test it, and I mean frozen. Look at that. But I'm gonna let him know that I know that is an issue, and we will see what happens. Okay, so I did discuss it thoroughly with him. I replaced the contactor. I made sure the contactor worked, of course, and it does. But yeah, that's the first time I've seen that. I know people have seen it before, but that's the first time I've seen a contactor weld itself shut. But that's what he wanted to do. He knows that there's a chance, probably a high chance, that we're probably gonna have to come back, but he wants to see what this does after it thaws out. So that's what he wants, and that's what he gets. He is such an incredibly nice guy. He's a police officer, but I'm headed out now. He tipped me generously. He was really appreciative that we put him in today, because we put him in originally for Monday, but we got him in for the end of the day today. So it was nice. He's super appreciative. Even though we don't know whether or not it's working, he's very happy that we could come. Really nice. But hopefully you enjoyed watching the video. That's going to be it for this one. Comment any advice or criticisms or feedback, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, so here is the thermal imaging camera itself. Here's that box, and again, it's by Topdon. You can see the name right there, but let's see if I can do this one-handed, pull this cover off. It's in a pretty nice box, and it comes in this little carrying pouch, and there it is. So I'm going to open up our infrared app, and let's see if I can get this plugged in there. Thermal imaging mode, and it's calibrating. got my hand blocking the camera, but looks, I mean, it's showing temperature, so. I already recorded a little clip, screen recording while I was using it, so I'll play that now. Okay, so I figured I'd take this chance to show you the top-down camera. And this is the app, so as soon as you open it up, it tells you right here to put your camera in, and it just simply plugs in onto the bottom. Thermal imaging mode, click that, allow it access to our camera, allow access to photos. We're calibrating. And let's see, I got my, oh wow, you could actually see the raindrops on my leg. But I'll go ahead and walk over towards Peter. You can see Peter right there. And it's in Celsius, so let's see if I can change that. No, I'm recording a video, but I'm trying to change from Celsius to Fahrenheit and more. Huh. Temperature units, Fahrenheit. Okay, so we can see our hot recovery machine. 120 degrees. And the cold refrigerant line that it's sucking from, 48 degrees. That's pretty cool. Peter. How hot are you?
The sun shining right
92. You can see all the raindrops on you.
Are my bug bites a different temperature?
I don't think so.
Just because of the scooter bite.
No, not different enough for this to tell. Oh wait, flip over again? No, the other way. You had like a light spot. Maybe it was a raindrop. Yeah, I mean, it's not the best resolution, but it's working. So it's pretty cool. See, show you the actual camera itself. But yeah, it's a pretty nice little camera. It's got a nice like build. It's nice and compact. So I think that's pretty cool. It comes with a little cable as well. Where did I put the case? I already lost the case. But okay, down there. It comes with a little cable. So you could hook it up, and it doesn't have to be like directly mounted to your phone. It could be off of a wire a little bit, and a little cleaning wipe. So pretty interesting. Top down.